Hi, my name is Michael Norman, and everything that you've learned about money is a program. You've been running the default code, the paycheck loop, the debt loop, effort without results. But there's another program, a hidden pattern. I call it the algorithm of wealth. This live webinar will teach you how to spot the patterns and how to pivot with confidence. We're going to show you how to automate your money and automate your income, how to pivot and scale without effort. No hype, no guesswork, just the system that the wealthy are already using. Hi there, my name is Michael Norman, and I've been doing webinars ever since the pandemic. And I've been showing people how to earn $10, $20, $30,000 in a day, and I can do the same for you. Join us on September 27th at 9 a.m. It's the algorithm of wealth. Myself, along with my partner, the CEO, Ken Harper, we're going to show you how to unlock the code that the wealthy and the rich are using to bring abundance, to take you from barely enough to more than enough. But you've got to register by going to michaelnorman.net. That's michaelnorman.net. Many people are asking how to decode the algorithm so that it works in their favor. The question is, will you be one of them? Will you keep running the old code, or will you rewrite your future? The opportunity is yours. Join us September 27th, 9 a.m. for the algorithm of wealth. I've helped many people all around the world come into a level of prosperity and abundance, and the same can happen for you. The question is, will you continue to run the same old code, or will you rewrite your future? Register today by going to michaelnorman.net. That's michaelnorman.net. It's the algorithm of wealth. Register today and change your tomorrow. That is so powerful. I'm so excited about this weekend, this Saturday, September 27th. It's going to be an amazing time together where we're going to begin to show you how to decode the algorithm of wealth. We're going to show you exactly how you can come into your independent wealth yourself. We're going to give you the tools, the tips, and the know-how that's going to allow you the opportunity to come into a place of increase that heretofore may have been something that it's been outside of your grasp, but we're going to show you how to do it this weekend. But you've got to go again to michaelnorman.net to register for this weekend. It's going to be powerful. Myself, along with Ken Harper, the CEO, is going to show you again how to interpret the algorithms of your life. You know that you and I are where we are primarily by and because of our mindsets and dispositions and things that we put on rinse and repeat, and we keep doing them. And that's what has created the lifestyle that we now experience, whether for good or not so good. But it's all related to the mindset. And on today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to develop a winning mindset. It is not something that happens by osmosis, and it's not an issue of sympathy or emotional overwhelmness or something of that nature. It's an issue of developing intentionally the proper mindset that brings you into a place where you can begin to see what was always there. But now, because you pivot just a little bit of your mindset, your paradigm, and all of a sudden you can see what was always there, and then you can benefit thereby. So on today's video, I want to talk to you about developing a winning mindset, because everything starts in the mind. Neville Goddard, one of my favorite speakers, says that your wonderful imagination, the power of your imagination, is what creates your reality. The Bible even puts it this way: as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You cannot avoid it. We are what we are and who we are by and large of what we think, how we think, the mindsets and dispositions that we hold on an ongoing basis. If you think a certain way for a long enough period of time, you will create a particular phenomenon in your life. No one can escape it. Okay? There's no shortcuts, no quick fix. I wish there were. I would have found it by now, because I've been doing this for over 30 years and I've been on the hunt. Trust me, I've been looking for those shortcuts, and shortcut gets you short benefits. Okay. I wish there were such a thing as get rich quick scheme, I would have discovered it. I wish there was a I would rather get rich quick than to remain poor for an extended period of time. But again, I understand now that wealth and riches is oftentimes a matter of mindset. Now, there are those who have been born into wealth. Some people have it because, of course, their parent had it. But then there are others who worked, who literally put in the blood, sweat, and tears and the discipline, doing the same things over and over, rinse and repeat, doing it over and over and over again. Remember, I told you some videos back. If you haven't seen it, check out my video, 3 Things That Will Impact Your Life Forever. 3 words that will impact your life forever. And in it, I'm talking about 3 distinct words. One is perspective, because the way you perceive is the way that you project. And the way you project determines how you receive. So it's your perception, your projection that affects your reception. It's on everything. It's in everything. And so I want to help you understand today that wealth and riches are available for everyone, but not everyone's going to get it. That's the hard truth. Not everyone is going to get it, not because it's being withheld from them, but those who ultimately ascend to the level of wealth and riches, often they all possess similar character traits. One of which is they are very clear on what it is they want to accomplish. They are very clear on what they want to accomplish. That's what I want to start off by saying. This first winning mindset is determining who you want to be in the future. Now, you may not be able to see that person. You may not be that person now, but all of us, we're all at various levels of success, various levels of wealth and development and things of that nature, but we're all on a journey. But the question is, where are you going? And if you don't know where you're going, well, how will you know when you get there? And more importantly, your journey becomes more, by and large, it becomes one big experiment, because every place looks like it could be the right place. And then when you don't know where you're going, every place looks like it could be the wrong place. What determines what's right or what's wrong, what's proper and improper, is your mindset and your vision, your goal. This is what separates winners from losers, because winners stay focused. My wife just gotten back from Japan, where they witnessed the qualifiers and championship, track and field championships. And one of the things that you'll notice in every race, whether it's the short race or the marathon races, the one thing that they are clear on is their destination, where they are going. You have never seen anyone run the 100-yard dash while trying to figure out where the finishing line is. They all know where they're very clear on where the finishing line is. And as such, that becomes their top priority, and everything else is secondary. Nothing else matters but that goal. What will it take for me to achieve that goal, to get to that finish line before everyone else? Now that determines your level of work. See, now you can have goals, but now the next thing is, we're talking about reverse engineering. So the next thing becomes, what will it take for me to achieve those goals? So again, you've got to reverse engineer. If you don't see yourself somewhere in the future and you look much better than you do right now, then you need to hurry up and get a vision of your future, and then live based on what you want to achieve in the future, not living based on what it is you're experiencing right now. That means take on the mindset. You've got to investigate and interrogate and question that man, that woman that is in the future, living the life that you want to live, having the sort of success that you want to have, doing the sort of things that you want to do. Because one thing that you'll find from them, you'll find out that they are very clear on what they want to be in the future, and their work is prescribed based on where they want to go. Okay, they're not willy-nilly, they're not arbitrarily just going, bit by bit. Everything is kind of flying at the seat of their pants. You've got to get a clear concept of where it is you want to go. This is how you develop a winning mindset, because you've got to be very clear on where it is you want to go, so that when you are clear on where it is you're going, you can chart a course to get there. If I want to go to my local grocery store, I know exactly where it is. I know where it is. Now, what I've got to do is begin to chart a course to get there. I've got to, first of all, I got to get out of my house, jump into my car, back out of the driveway, proceed, what is that, east on our particular street, make a right turn, left turn, then a right turn, go east again, and that will take me directly to our local grocery store. The reason that I could successfully get there is because I know, number one, where it is I want to go, and number two, I've charted out the path that will take me to the grocery store. Okay, so life is much like that. You've got to, number one, determine where it is you want to go, and then craft or develop a plan that will get you there. And this is where most people fail. Quite honestly, this is where most people opt out, because, and including present company included, because I've never was a planner. I was not taught to plan. I was not taught to, prepare for the future. And for, when the teacher would ask, when we're in kids in school, she'd ask, what do you want to be in 5 years? I had no idea. I don't know. I just want to be alive. But that's not good enough. That's not going to cause you to exceed and succeed in life until you get a plan. Number one, you got to have a destination. The scripture says that without a vision, the people perish. So what is he saying? Without a clear concept of where it is you're going, the people cast off restraints. In other words, they lose discipline. They lose direction. They are like a ship that's without a sail. They're sailing on the sea without a sail. And so they go wherever the wind takes them. So when you don't know where it is, or don't have a clear concept of where you're going, and then you don't go on to develop a plan that will get you there, then you're more or less spitting in the wind. You're just a ship without a sail. You're going back and forth. And this is why you feel so tired and listless, because you've been doing and working and working and getting up early in the morning, working all day, 12, 14 hours a day. You've been working hard, but it seems like you're not achieving anything. And that's why a plan is necessary. That's why now you can talk about goal, and goal setting is important, but you've got to be equally committed to the work that it's going to take to get you there. And again, this is where most people fall short, because most people will not take the time to settle down and do the hard work of planning. They won't take the time. They like flying by the seat of the pants. They like the unknown. And what generally happens when you don't have a plan for where you're going or for your destiny, what happens is you basically give your time and your energy to whatever presents itself as the most immediate chaos. So certain things that are chaotic don't require immediate attention. As a matter of fact, certain chaos that exists in our lives can oftentimes be resolved if we get certain things in order. It will alleviate the chaos. If we do the things that we have to do when we have to do them, it will limit and marginalize the level of chaos that you have to deal with. But most people live by chaos. What's the immediate challenge? What bill is the furthest behind? And we live from that sort of situation. What's the immediate calamity that's confronting me right now? Rather than living on purpose, rather than living in regards to where it is you're supposed to be going. And so my challenge to you today is to develop a mental picture. Neville Goddard says again that your imagination has he says that your imagination is the most powerful thing. As a matter of fact, I wrote something down here that Neville Goddard used to say, and still does, reverberating. Here's one of the things he said here. I like this. Where did it go? I wrote it down, and I wrote it down so that I could share it with you. It says, so here's one of the things he says. Neville Goddard says that imagination creates reality. And of course, that's directly in line with scripture, because I'm a very strong proponent of scripture. But he says that reality, or your imagination, literally creates your reality. And what he's saying is basically what I've just been saying. If you can imagine yourself, if you can see yourself doing it, then eventually by God will provide certain, I call them divine happenstance, to be in place to help you get there. If you, and this is a big if you're committed to doing the early work of planning, the early work of meditating, sit down sometime and just spend a few moments just quieting the outside world. Use that filter of your mind and just filter out all of the noise and all of the chaos and all of the confusion and all of the things that distracts you. Take a moment to put all of that on the back burner and spend time just thinking and contemplating where it is you want to be. And I can't tell you how important this is, because if your objective is to become the next millionaire, you will not get there by virtue of the bank. You will not get there by virtue of anything. Prosperity starts right here. It starts in the mind. If you got to prosper in your mind, you will prosper in your money. I can guarantee you that. But again, there are those who will and those who won't. Those who will do the necessary things that leads to prosperity, growth, and expansion and scaling to bigger and better things. Those that do that will experience growth. Those who refuse will not. It's just that simple. And it may seem a little hard, it may seem a little crass, but the truth of the matter, it is the way that it is. So Neville Goddard says, imagination creates reality. One of the things I got here is the winning mindset begins with seeing yourself victorious in the inner world. You've got to see yourself victorious here first. Here first. I can do all things. I can do all things. There's nothing impossible to them that believe. Even God says that. So again, if I want to talk about in Genesis where there's a group of people that were building a tower to reach into the heavens. Now, up until that point, they were all one language. It's only one language at that time. But they agreed together that they would build this tower that reaches into the heavens and build a name for themselves. And of course, God heard of their plan and saw their enterprise and said, we got to go down and deal with these people, because if we don't, whatever they imagine will not be withheld from them. Now, some people might think that's crazy to think that you can build a tower that reaches all the way into heaven. That's impossible. But obviously, what God was thinking was, no, all things are possible to them that believe. And it's still the same for you and I today, that all things are possible to them that believe. Now, the struggle often becomes believing through adversity, believing through the fact that no one else believes, believing through discouragement, believing through disappointments, because all of these things will happen. You'll experience, if not one, all of them. You'll experience them at some point during your journey to cause you to get off track. And when that happens, the first thing you want to do is recognize that I've gotten off track. I got to get back on my plan. So how do you do that? You reacquaint yourself with your end goal. I want to be this. I want to be that. And however long it takes me to get there, I'm committed to the journey, not necessarily to the time, because that's what throws people off. People think that I should be a millionaire or billionaire by this time next week. It doesn't happen that way. You've got to be committed to the process. You've got to be committed to the work, because all work works. It works in two phases. Number one, it works on you first. The work works on you. That's why it's never, if it's of God, and generally, anything that's praiseworthy is of God. So the first thing it's going to do is going to work on you. Now that takes time. That's a consuming or consumption of time. And what happens is generally we get a little discouraged, we get despondent because it's not happening as fast as we want it to happen. But can I encourage you today to recognize that what is happening is God is using time to work on you. So the work that you're working on, I've been doing this. I've been making the calls. I've been setting the appointments. I've been marketing. I've been promoting. I've been on Facebook. I've been on YouTube. I've been all over trying to promote my business, trying to promote this or that. And nothing seems to be working. But I promise you, while it seems like it's not working, it's working. Because what it is working on you first. And then it begins to work for you later. So how long does that take? I don't know. The question is not a matter of time. The question is a matter of commitment. How long are you going to be committed? Well, I'm committed until I see it, until it comes to pass. I'm committed to do whatever I got to do, because now I'm recognizing that work works on me first before it works for me. So whatever enterprise you might be involved in with today, whatever you might be trying to achieve, recognize that while it may be your goal, the goal comes with consequences. The goal comes with requirement and prerequisites. That means the goal requires that you must learn some things and grow through some things and experience some things so that you can properly manage the very thing that you're working towards. Does that make sense? That if I want to be a great accountant, then that must mean that I got to first go to school and study accounting. Now, that's not fun, because that might be a 4-year endeavor. It might be a 5-year, depending on what your credential level is going to be. But nevertheless, it's going to require initial work up front. No payoffs, no parades, no confetti, just work. Tests, quiz, pop quiz, exams, all of these things that nobody looks forward to. No one is looking forward to. But they understand these are the things I got to contend with. I got to work through them because they are helping to elevate me, to prepare me for where I'm going to. So every test, every exam, every pop quiz is designed to help prepare me to handle what comes with being an accountant, starting my own business, being a hairstylist, being a mechanic, being whatever it is you're going to be. Even if you're in sales, the very thing, you might have a product that's of great value to everyone. Everybody needs what you're selling. And so you join in, whether it's multi-level marketing or whatever you might be involved in. The initial experience is everybody's telling me no. Hey, I've got this great hair product. Can I interest you in it? No, thanks. Hey, I can wash your car. Can I wash your car? No, thanks. Start a donut business. I've got these great donuts. Would you like to have some? No, thanks. Started a charity. Can you support my charity? No, thanks. You're hearing no, 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 no. And most people think they're hearing the no because they think that what they are doing has no value and no worth. And as such, they internalize those no's and cause those no's to sabotage their idea and their dreams and aspirations. And then they give up. And so they move on to something else, only to discover, guess what? There's more resistance there as well. There's more no's waiting for you over there. And you would have been better off staying with what you were doing for the first year or two, hearing nothing but no's, than starting over in another enterprise where you're going to hear more no's. And now you got to work your way through those no's to achieve whatever the goal is in that enterprise that you might be involved in. So again, the real truth of the matter is you will win if you don't give up. You've got to be committed to whatever the process is and have faith that the process is more important than the promise. As a matter of fact, you cannot handle the promise until you deal with the process. Whenever God's taking Israel from Egypt to the promised land, to Canaan, right? He did not take them straight from Pharaoh's captivity in Egypt directly to the promised land. No, he took them through the wilderness. They had the Red Sea experience. They've had the wilderness of the Sinai Peninsula, 40 years in a wilderness experience, which they didn't really have to go 40 years, but because they were resistant in their own minds, it extended and exacerbated the time that it would have taken for them to enter into the promised land. But that's another issue altogether. What I wanted to really bring to your forefront is that God took them from not enough in Egypt to barely enough in the peninsula, in the Sinai Peninsula, 40 years with manna every day. They couldn't save it. They couldn't stock it up. They had to, it would rot. So again, from not enough in Egypt to barely enough in the wilderness to more than enough in Canaan. So from not enough to barely enough to more than enough. But each of those levels required a level of discipline. So they had to believe in their mind that, yes, things would be better for us if we left Egypt. So let's leave Egypt. Okay? And then as they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years, they had to continue to, I'm not committed to the time it takes to get there. I'm committed to getting there. Okay? So that means I'm going to endure these 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. However, now again, didn't have to take 40 years, but at least those who made it into Canaan were willing to endure 40 years of wandering around until they got to the promised land, which was Canaan. And then now they're going from just enough to more than enough. So you see, the process prepares us for the blessings. The process prepares us for the promise. If you endure not having enough to going to barely enough to the point where you have more than enough, that's the process that God does for every person. Every entrepreneur knows this. Every person that starts a business recognizes that oftentimes you open the doors of your business, no one comes in. You start a YouTube page, no one shows up. One or two visitors, one or two views, and then they stay for 2 seconds. But if you persist in doing the work is working on you so you can handle the rewards that comes at the end. I don't think that anyone really deserves wealth and riches until they've had a time of preparation. You've got to become wealthy, and that starts here. Not by virtue of the lottery, not Powerballs or anything of that nature, because that's primarily why those who win the lottery are usually broke within 5 years. No matter how much money the lottery would have been for, they are generally broke within 5 years. Why? Because they didn't possess these things that I just got through sharing with you. Okay? So please understand that success starts in the mind. Wealth and riches starts in the mind. Everything material. Neville Goddard said it, that your imagination creates your reality. So if you can see it in your mind, you can have it in your life. I say it like this: your mentality affects your reality. Your mentality impacts your reality. Your mentality is the seed bed for your reality. So your mindset affects your assets. It's just as simple as that. So I trust you got something out of this video today that will help you along your journey, to encourage you to know that, yeah, you might be going through some hard places, might feel like giving up, may feel like throwing in the towel, but recognize that the work that you're doing is a worthy work. It's a worthy objective. It's a worthy goal, because you want to be blessed so that you can be a blessing, right? So know that the work that you're working on is working on you first. And once you've passed whatever time period, it's different for everyone. So what may have been 2 months for me might be 2 years for you. But if you're committed to the process, then will you be properly prepared to handle the promise. Okay? Again, I trust something has been said to inspire you, to provoke you to continue on. Greater days lie ahead. What's ahead of you is far greater than what's behind you. So just continue to move on. And I want to remind you to join me Saturday, September 27th, 9 a.m. for the Algorithm of Wealth. This is how we're teaching you principles of finances. First of all, again, starts right here. Myself, along with Ken Harper, we're going to show you the tools, the tips, and the techniques you need to know that will bring you into financial prosperity, so that you can be a blessing, so that you can leave an inheritance and not an invoice. If you're into that, go to michaelnorman.net and register today. michaelnorman.net. And I'll see you September 27th, the Algorithm of Wealth. We'll see you then. Be blessed. Hi, my name is Michael Norman, and everything that you've learned about money is a program. You've been running the default code, the paycheck loop, the debt loop, effort without results. But there's another program, a hidden pattern. I call it the Algorithm of Wealth. This live webinar will teach you how to spot the patterns and how to pivot with confidence. We're going to show you how to automate your money and automate your income, how to pivot and scale without effort. No hype, no guesswork, just the system that the wealthy are already using. Hi there, my name is Michael Norman, and I've been doing webinars ever since the pandemic. And I've been showing people how to earn $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in a day, and I can do the same for you. Join us on September 27th at 9 a.m. It's the Algorithm of Wealth. Myself, along with my partner, the CEO, Ken Harper, we're going to show you how to unlock the code that the wealthy and the rich are using to bring abundance, to take you from barely enough to more than enough. But you've got to register by going to michaelnorman.net. That's michaelnorman.net. Many people are asking how to decode the algorithm so that it works in their favor. The question is, will you be one of them? Will you keep running the old code, or will you rewrite your future? The opportunity is yours. Join us September 27th, 9 a.m. for the Algorithm of Wealth. I've helped many people all around the world come into a level of prosperity and abundance, and the same can happen for you. The question is, will you continue to run the same old code, or will you rewrite your future? Register today by going to michaelnorman.net. That's michaelnorman.net. It's the Algorithm of Wealth. Register today and change your tomorrow.